everyone. It's the morning of Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020. I'm in my new home office in my living room, about to show you part 2 of the bird's eye view of the city. And before I go any further, at this point I have 9 buildings. Now's the time to maybe do some more buildings. The more buildings you have, the least you have to worry about this negative space, which is the ground. So the more buildings you have, the less trees and roads and all those things. But you can have that as well. So it's totally up to you. But at this point, once you've done your buildings, you're satisfied with your buildings and windows and doors, you're going to work on the tops of the buildings, because buildings are not just flat. So the first thing, I'm not going to do it for all, I'm going to do it for these 2 buildings, is you're going to go to the top of the building again, and you are going to copy the shape, so parallel lines, just kind of have a border. A border. There's my border. You would do it for all of your buildings, so I'm just going to take this and just copy. Again, I'm copying that line. Think of it as a line that formed a shape. It's up to you how thick this is. This is again just the kind of the top of the wall. It's going to be a wall. So I would go ahead and do that to all the buildings. You can do one at a time. But what you're going to do now, use a pen so you can see, what needs to go to the vanishing point. This corner right back here, that new corner you just made, head it to the vanishing point, and this is going to determine the height of the actual wall. So make it as tall as you want. This corner as well over here, make it the same height. Now this one you don't need one, and this one you don't need one. And then what you're going to do is at the end of that line, you're going to make a parallel line with the side of the building there. This will be parallel this way. There's a vertical line. And then there's will be a little line here to the not to the vanishing point, sorry. A little one right here. So that kind of shows you. Try to zoom in. Okay, so we have space right there. Now what's going to be in there? How about a swimming pool? I'm going to have an oval swimming pool. Don't worry about a vanishing point at first. There's the shape. Remember, we're looking flat down on it. If there's a diving board, you're just seeing it flat on there. Now the only 3D part, because that looks really flat, would be on the side away from the vanishing point. On the left side of this pool, you're copying that little curve like that. Now that looks more three-dimensional. If you were looking at chairs, again, you're just looking straight down. Got 2 chairs right here. Alright, let's go to this building. Okay, again, now the 3D part of this, we wouldn't see any of the wall here, but we would start about right here. Get really small, and then it can get a little bit larger back here, however tall you want that wall to be. And then it just stops like that. Does that make sense? And later we'll get some shading to show that. Well, how about a building on top of a building? And it does not have to be the same shape of your buildings. I'm going to have a little building on top. I'm going to start with a rectangle. At the top. Now the corners, just like we did our bigger buildings, it's going to be like a little mini building. Head to the vanishing point. But you stop when you want your building to stop, that little mini building. And this needs to match that. Like that. Do I need one right here? A little one right there. Yep. So there's a little, looks like a little cube. I'll put a door on that. Now we have a building. Again, the sides go to the vanishing point. Anything that is normally vertical goes to the vanishing point. Now let's talk about trees. Let's say this is like a little, I don't know, little penthouse or something like that. Trees. Again, you're looking at the top, so they're going to look like bushes at first. We have some trees. Now, would you see the tree trunk? You do not have to see the tree trunks at all. At all. If you wanted to see a little bit, if it was like a really tall tree, where would it go? I'll just do one over here. The trunks do have to go to the vanishing point. You're not going to see a lot of it though. It'll look like the tree fell over if you do. So just the sides go to the vanishing point. It's a little thicker at the top, and it just stops like that. You're not going to see a lot of the tree trunks. All right, let's go to this building. I'm going to draw a flag. A flag. All right, remember vertical parts go to the vanishing point. So I'll start with my flagpole. Here's my flagpole. All right, the very top of my flag. Make that wave. All right, the side is going to go to the vanishing point. I'm going to draw it straight right now with a pencil, and then I'm going to make it a little wavy in a minute. And then the bottom of the flag, again, matches the curve, or it can be a little different in that it might be waving differently, but it's going to be a curve, a horizontal curve. Now, if it's an American flag here, the stars and stars section, that needs to go to the vanishing point. This can be curved like this. Now, this part can be waving, so you can sort of make that wavy like that. That looks a little better. And how many? 13 stripes. And again, they're waving. They don't need to be straight horizontal. They can even touch each other. They are waving like that. Okay, what else? Let's come over to this curve building. I'm going to show you how to make this look like a dome. What would look like a dome? Well, the only line that really needs to go to the vanishing point is that middle line. So I'm going to have one come right here in the middle of this oval, like that. Now pretend like there's a dot over here, and these are going to curve, all going to that same point that would be over here somewhere. And these are going to curve this way. Like that. So now let's look at some things I've added before we do our sidewalks and our working on ground. Here's a little building on top of this round building. Again, you can have a different shape form on top of another shape form. But if it has a roof, it almost looks like, zoom in a little bit, it looks like almost an envelope at the top, with the bigger part being near the vanishing point. So there's a little building there. What else did I add? Over here, look here, I've got a structure on top of another structure on top of another one, and they're all three different shapes. But again, what do they have in common? They each match the top of that original shape at the top. Here was the original shape here, that matches that, and then this oval, and it matches that. Again, anything vertical goes to the vanishing point. Over here, I added another little structure with another dome. So again, a round oval structure on top of this particular building here. Now I'm ready. Oh, also a couple things I added are some awnings. If you see, some structures over the door. Okay, so now I'm ready for my street. Now again, you are a bird looking down, and parallel things stay parallel. I would do my sidewalks first. Now the sidewalks can face the actual shape of the building, like this. Let's say I'm just gonna have or they can be different. I can have this shape sidewalk against that building. But I'm gonna kind of close these up. These are all gonna kind of connect together. I'm gonna have a road coming in here, and it's only going to have to come back out there. You can use a ruler, or so I'm going to get my sidewalks first. Sidewalks, and now this part kind of heads back to the vanishing point, and this is going to maybe be a parking lot back there. Here comes a road. Before I do my road, let me finish my sidewalks real quickly. So there are my sidewalks. I know I want something in the center. Cover up that vanishing point, maybe a fountain, something here. And now here comes our roads. So I've got a road. Again, we got pretty tall buildings, so our roads are not going to be very big. Not going to be any bigger than this. No worry about a vanishing point. They need to stay parallel. If they're curved, they stay curved. If they're straight, they stay straight. Sorry. So it's going to come around here. It's got to go out there. And it's going to go around my fountain. Kind of try to keep the same width of your roads the same. Maybe that road. So here I have my road come in here, and even can split off here. But again, you've got this space you'll need to work with, or it can be empty space. I made this road come behind this building and then come back out here. But again, the more negative space you have, your more trees or things you need to fill up, or put some more buildings, take up some space. And the last thing, zoom in a little bit, is of cars. Now people, you just see sort of the top of their heads, but cars, again, you're only going to see the tops of the cars or trucks, vehicles. And that's it. You don't have to worry. Whoopsie, sorry about that. You do not have to worry about a vanishing point. You're just seeing the tops of the cars. So the last part is going to be how to clean this up, and we're going to outline it with a skinny Sharpie before we add some color and do some shading, because again, shading makes things look three-dimensional. After we figure out where the sun is, we will shade our buildings. So I've cleaned this up, and I've added a couple more things. I've added some more roads. I'm actually going to have an ocean over here in sand. There's a parking lot. Roads, if you notice, I did not outline, like with a Sharpie or marker, things on the ground, because again, they're going to appear a little lighter and fuzzier a little bit. So I didn't outline any of that. Notice I've added some balconies. So before I shade, because we're up to the shading part, I want to show you how to create a balcony. So I'll create another one right here. Again, it goes with the shape of that building, so I'm going to leave some space here, and I'm going to draw that curve. The sides go to the vanishing point, and as the balconies head toward the street, they're going to get a little bit smaller, so I'm not going to make it as tall. Curve, curve. And those railings need to go to the vanishing point. There we have another balcony. And here's one for this building as well. So I'm ready to start. I'm ready to start shading, because the shading makes things definitely look more three-dimensional and finishes it up. So you need to decide where your sun is going to be. I'm just going to very lightly, I'm not going to leave this here, but my sun is going to be coming from this corner up here. So I'm going to put this here, because that needs to determine how I shade my buildings. And I'm going to start with this building. Which side of the building would be lighter? This one, because it is closer to the sun. So I'm going to lightly press down hard. You can either add a little yellow to it if you want to make it look like it's warm. Think about it, inside the balcony, a little darker in there, ease up a little bit. And this side of the building is going to be darker. So you just press down hard with your orange or whatever color you're using. Now let's talk about windows. Windows on the side can't be white because there's no light on this side. So they're all going to be shaded. I'm just going to use gray. Use whatever color you want. Are they going to get lighter or darker toward the street? So I'm going to start off just really light at the top. You can accentuate the window panes if you want. And as I go down to the street, they're actually going to get a little darker because these buildings are blocking the light. So they are going to be darker as you go down to the street. So they get smaller and smaller and darker and darker. Shading here as well. This is a little curve here, so I'm going to put a little shading right here. That might not be white because that building may be blocking a little bit, so I'm going to add a little shading right there. All right, let's go to a round building. Let's see. Okay. To make round buildings look round, you definitely would need to shade along this side here, behind that building. I'm coming around, I'm making it curve because it needs to look round. It's going to be darker here. I like to take my colored pencil and kind of outline my lines. Now there can't be any light on this side at all because this building is blocking and the light's coming over here. So they can be light, but they're not going to be, can't be white. And I have a little darker here next to this building. And as you come around, I might make my doors a different color. Ease up the pressure, get lighter and lighter. But again, this can't have any white on it, this whole building. Curve. Remember, shading is gradually coloring dark to light, and the key is gradual. Same thing up here, this little building here. Be darker on the right side and a little bit lighter on the left. Again, always thinking the sun is coming this direction. Same thing with this. This would be darker. And this side would be lighter, like this orange here. And it may be a little darker at the bottom because this is blocking. You really have to think. This is taller than this, so it's going to be a little bit darker here. And as I ease up, I can get a little bit lighter. So I'm going to color, and I'm going to show you my finished version, and then we'll be done. So here's my final version. It's colored, shaded, and I want you to look at it for a minute. See if you can decide where the sun is. Let's look at this building right here. How can you tell the sun is coming from this corner here, from this side? This side is lighter, this side is darker. What really gives it away is I put this shadow of a flag down here. Okay, we have shadows here. These buildings over here are the lightest because the light's coming and hitting them. Again, they're getting darker toward the street though, because these buildings will make them a little darker here. But these are lighter here. I also want you to remember me telling you about this. When you have something overlapping, you've got a little shadow on the one behind. So like this building here, we have a little shading here. Anytime there's overlapping, you've got the shadow shading on the one that is behind the other. Got my beach over here. There's my sign. And the cars, again, you won't see detail. They'll be really small. Very small. The trees, I know these are trees, but I don't see a lot of detail. Another thing, I'm going to zoom in a minute. On the sidewalk. This sidewalk can be lighter than this one, but again, the sun's coming here, and so this sidewalk can't stay white, so I just made it a light gray over here. One thing that looks good when you're coloring, like I had a skinny black Sharpie outlined, and then I took the color of the windows I wanted, and I sort of outlined a little bit darker before I shaded in. One thing that also looks good is to repeat your colors. Don't have every building a different color. That helps unify the picture. And don't leave anything white unless it is absolutely white and should stay white. You could have dark streets. I just left them white. I think they stood out a little better, but I did a little shading when the road even went behind a building. There's a little bit of gray shading. And when you're all satisfied, what's the last thing we do? We sign our name in the bottom right hand corner